Well, well, well. After game one went to OT, we get a double overtime in game two. And Brad Marchand from Anton Lundell. The backhand that trickles through Stuart Skinner. And the Florida Panthers have tied the series at 1. Check it out again. Just squirts through his leg padding. I mean, this series, just 2 games in, has been incredible theater. I mean, what more can you say about these two teams? And with that, we bring in CBS Sports NHL writer Pete Blackburn for a recap of a classic game 2. And Pete, Brad Marchand had 3 breakaways in this game, found the back of the net in 2 of them, including the double overtime winner, the most important one. But this is why you go out and acquire somebody with the cup experience, right? The leadership experience, because Brad Marchand is built for these moments.
100%. Like, he's been a difference maker for this team. He's been a difference maker basically his entire career. He unlocked the third line and something in them, and they've been that's been their best line for a large majority of these playoffs. But Brad Marchand, like, is a game breaker, and in an instant classic game 2, he's the iconic figure in it, and he gets that double overtime winner and is, you know, the difference in what has been an extremely close series to this point. I mean, 2 games to start this series that have been razor close. And, you know, if that's the way the series is going to go, it's going to be the difference makers who find their way to the front of the line, making the difference and having these iconic moments to help their team to the Stanley Cup. Tonight, it was Brad Marchand. The previous game was Leon Draisaitl. After 2 games, I don't know what you can say about this series. Anybody who has maybe fatigue or complained about the rematch being the Stanley Cup Final, we want some new teams, you got to shut up. No words. Based off of the first 2 games, there's nothing you can say that is going to convince me that we could have gotten a better matchup for the Stanley Cup Final, because this has been unbelievable.
Well, a lot of times, Pete, right, you know, people say the sequel is rarely better than the original. Well, right now, we're 2 games in, and the sequel looks pretty dang better than what we saw in that first matchup, right? I know, you know, Edmonton came back to tied up at 3-3, but this is something that we're going to be talking about for quite some time. And if you're Edmonton, if you lose a heartbreaker, right, in that fashion where you had so many opportunities, I know Sergei Bobrovsky was excellent in this game. What is the message in the locker room to get ready to head to Sunrise?
Well, I mean, I think that it's just that this is a close series, and that was like one team got 1 break that made the difference here. Like, this was a very close game, and if you're the Oilers and you're evaluating the performance, maybe you have an issue with the special teams. Like, you only got 1 power play goal on a number of opportunities. You gave up a shorthanded goal. That's maybe the area where you say we need to be better next time out. But this is an extremely close game, and I think if you're Edmonton, you're happy with the performance that you got. And honestly, at the end of the day, I really truly believe that Florida needed this game so much more than Edmonton did, not just because they had lost the first game, not just because you're trying to force a road split here heading back to your home city, but also because of the fact that the Florida Panthers have played in 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals. They've played so much hockey, more hockey than any team in the entire NHL. They've got an older squad with some of these guys like Brad Marchand, who's got wear and tear on him. Like, if you're getting games that are constantly going to overtime in these really, really punishing style of hockey that Florida plays, like, you want to get the games early on in the series and not have to climb out of a huge hole when you've played a bunch of extra periods. So this was a huge win for the Florida Panthers.
Now, when we look ahead to game 3, Pete, what are you going to be expecting? Because right now, the Panthers have the momentum, but as you noted, these 2 teams, they match up so well, and the margin for error is so thin. So what do you think will be the outcome for game 3, in your opinion?
It's anybody's guess at this point. I know that's a bad TV answer, but like, I don't know what to expect for game 3. I mean, game 2, you got unbelievable entertainment, a little bit of everything across the board in what you saw from that game. all I can say is I hope that Game 3 looks somewhat similar to what we got, because we are being spoiled with some very good hockey. And I mean, this is an incredible matchup between two unbelievable teams. So if you're not watching the Cup Final, what are you doing? There's absolutely nothing better than what we've been seeing through the first couple of games here.
100%, man. Do you think, based on what we've seen in these first 2 games, we are headed for 7 games?
Honestly, I don't know, because like you can have a 5-game, 6-game series that has the feel of a 7-game series in how close these two play each other in between those 60 minutes or 60 plus minutes, I guess, in both of the games here so far. Like it's easy to forget that last year's Cup Final, although it went to 7 games, a lot of those games weren't particularly close. Like a lot of multi-goal games, a lot of, big swings back and forth. They weren't the tight, like razor thin margin games that we've seen so far here. So do I hope that we get a full 7 games of what we've seen through the first couple of games? Absolutely, but I'm not willing to guarantee it. It could just go, one team could get a couple more bounces that decide it before 7 games.
Well, listen, if this is an indication of what we're going to get, whether it's 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games, let's just sit back, right? Grab some popcorn and enjoy the show. Pete Blackburn, always a pleasure talking hockey with you, man.
Thank you.
And so here's a look at the series schedule for the Stanley Cup Final. We have to wait until Monday for Game 3 in Florida, 8 Eastern. Then Game 4 will be Thursday. And Game 5, that will be back in Edmonton, Saturday, June 14th, also at 8. And then we have Game 6 and 7, if necessary. Coming up, we will have all the highlights from another dramatic inning between the Panthers and Oilers. Brad Marchand, the game winner, and we've got more reaction from the Stanley Cup Final. Time now to bring in CBS News Miami sports anchor Mike Cugno to recap a classic from Game 2. And first, Mike, just take us into what that atmosphere was like, because you go double OT. Sometimes fans may be a little fatigued, but I have to imagine that was definitely not the case in this Game 2.
No, it absolutely wasn't. And think about Game 1. That was an instant classic. Somehow Game 2 topped it by the end of the first period. But yeah, even before double overtime started, this building was still buzzing as if the game was just about to start. And why not? The Oilers could feel it. Edmonton could feel it. They were one Brad Marchand goal and double OT away from going down to South Florida with a 2-0 series lead and being just 2 wins away from hoisting a Stanley Cup. And we all know it's been quite a long time, but you got to credit the Panthers. They played much better in this game than they did in Game 1, able to sustain long stretches of better play, and it ended up paying off in the end, even though it was almost a disaster after that Corey Perry goal with about 17 seconds to go in the third.
The fun thing about all of this, Mike, is that there are so many twists and turns in this game. You're not sure who's going to finish out on top, but Brad Marchand has 2 goals in this game. Of course, the double OT game winner, but this really speaks to why you go out and get a guy like Brad Marchand, who has the Cup experience, who